Welcome to the Health Fix podcast, where health junkies get their weekly fix of tips, tools, and techniques to have limitless energy, sharp minds, and fit physiques for life. Jon Engelson, welcome to the Health Fix podcast.
Thank you. Great to be here.
Well, I'm excited because, when you guys reached out to me and said, hey, do you want to try our product and talked about the meat slices and I'm saying meat slices and it's steak slices. And we're going to get into that, guys, as to what that's all about. And really talking about snacks that are coming with a high quality protein, but also with a purpose and also being grass-fed, things of that nature, things that we need to be thinking about when it comes to our food and what we are consuming. So how did Joburg Meats, and if I'm saying it wrong, that's another thing, you got to help me out here. How did you guys find each other? How did you meet? How did this all come together?
Okay, so I've had years and years of experience in the food industry.
And now we have Joe.
Yeah.
There he is.
Cheers,
Hello.
Joe.
Yeah, I finally was able to get it to work. It's like,
Good deal. We're all here now.
Great. He's one of the founders, and he adds a lot of
no, I'm Mr. Crazy.
wisdom and some flavor to our podcast together, which you may see. So this will be fun.
Fair enough. So now that I have both of you, of course, I kind of want to know the story of like how you two met. How did you decide that we have got to share something from South Africa in the U.S. and bring it to the U.S. market to kind of maybe give a better option to beef jerky? Because as I was telling Jon, when we came to the podcast to get started, I ended up chipping a tooth while eating beef jerky. And so coming to something that's a little bit softer and a little bit easier to chew with the steak slices, now I'm like, okay, we've got a different option for my teeth as I get older. So how did you two meet?
Jon, how did I meet you?
We met.
I was walking in a dark alley and I bumped into this tall guy. And I go, who is this?
We actually live in the same community, and we met at the same synagogue. So
Gotcha.
that's how we originally met, and we had an appeal right away to each other. He's extremely eccentric, probably, and if I can keep his attention for more than 3 seconds, that's like a miracle. But usually I can, because I have a way with it. But he's a really, really sensitive and deep soul.
Don't bullshit.
Okay. And we became very good friends, and we had these sort of parallel lives in the sense of what we were doing in business. He comes from a tech background, and I actually come from, like I was saying before, a food background. But I didn't really know he was into this food project at all. And then one day we started talking, and I said, we should sit down because I have a lot of experience in this. I founded a company in the 90s called You Are What You Eat, and we were one of the pioneers of putting health and nutrition products in schools and the mass market. And I had a lot of experience of bringing products into both in the retail world and in the direct world. So we ended up having a meeting, and that was almost 2 years ago. I can't believe that. How fast does that go? And
Yeah, a little too quick.
we've been together and building this wonderful project ever since.
Gotcha. And so two guys, same community. Where does South Africa come in, and how does Biltong and now we're calling them steak slices here in the U.S. so folks get a better understanding of what's going on? How did you guys bring this into your conversation?
There is another partner that is South African.
Okay.
And
Okay.
that's where the South African biltong originally comes from, the original recipes, and as being here in America, which was part of the original vision. Part of the original vision was really started by just something delicious that's not available in kosher.
Gotcha.
And
Got.
that's really where the vision just came from, is like, let's make something delicious that's available for the kosher market as well. So we took this product, which was absolutely, I remember tasting and going, oh wow, this is insane. I have never tasted anything like this. And and building from there, and then John came along, and kind of all of a sudden we started to realize that it's not just about delicious, it's about healthy and clean. And by definition, our product was clean. There was zero, zero, zero junk in there. So all of a sudden we just change and go like, oh wow, this is okay, this is not just about delicious, this is about a whole nother avenue of people that we're gonna make happy here. So we kind of changed the whole vision. Instead of focusing on delicious, focused on healthy, which was by default delicious.
Which is always a score, which is always a score. And of course, John sent me over some samples, and I've consumed all of these in probably about 35 seconds, if we're being real. But the black truffle, I love anything truffle. Like, it's amazing, and it's an amazing flavor. And I think a lot of people are looking at beef jerky and going, oh, well, we have that added sugar a lot of times. We have soy sauce in there, and that's in there. And then we have the concept of the cooking, and it gets really dry over a course of time, and of course, hence why the tooth ended up getting chipped. So, would you explain to us a little bit about the process of the biltong and how you guys came up with the different flavors that you chose? Are these that like traditional to South Africa, or are these things you kind of just thought sounded good and worked out?
That's a very good question. I'll address this one. We'll go, John, you'll address the when we go more into healthy side.
Sure.
Interesting, the jerky question versus the steak slices question. Think of it as a, I think this is good. I'm trying to give it a good example, as you know, any of your audience watching this is going to be like, yeah, I know exactly. Uh, one second. Who's clicking over there?
Yeah, I can hear some typing going on in the
Yeah.
background.
Okay, thank you. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, let's go back to the difference between
Yes.
biltong
So
and
biltong and jerky. So thinking of the
yeah,
right question, the right the right answer to actually address it and give um, a fair understanding of what that is. So let's think of it this way. You're a cook, chef in your kitchen, right? You could buy good meat, you could buy bad meat, but it's all how you cook it, right? So now you've made meat where whether your kids or husband or anybody tastes it and go like, this is really a little bit inedible. It's a little bit too overdone. It's a little too, it's not what you expect like when you have like a medium or medium well steak, which is like that has that tenderness to it, which is really what you're expecting. So every time you eat a piece of meat, you want to be able to have that easy chew, like a medium well, or medium rare, depending on your liking. But definitely not something you need to chew for 60 seconds to get it down where your jaws are hurting you by the time you're done. That's kind of the difference between steak slices and jerky. Jerky, honestly, the way it's been done, I've tasted, because I do like jerky. I like it as a once in a while, not a lot, even though America kind of loves jerky, but then they get kind of a little frustrated and devastated when they taste one that wasn't good, because they are always looking, you're always on the seek and the hunt for that good jerky. The one that's tender, that's soft, and then you taste one, you go, oops, another rock, another rock. And all it is really is, it's, think of it as you made a stir fry that you overcooked for 12 hours with a lot of sauce that kind of evaporated completely, and then left it out overnight. And what you have left, usually you throw in the garbage. Sorry, that's what a jerky is. I'm
yeah.
sorry if I said it like that. John, I did I say it very well?
Yeah. I mean, You said it as you normally say things.
Okay, so, so now, okay, now without insulting it, it's I only said it after because you left it out for 20, 12, 24 hours and it kind of dried out, and you're like, this is
Yeah.
not edible. But then when you taste it in a bag that says jerky on it, you're like, it's not bad. So next time before you throw it out, just put it in a bag and call it jerky and ask your kids, say, how do you like this? And see their opinion. It's the same, it's like it's the same test I do with a good bottle of wine and a cheap bottle of wine. When you have people sitting at your table and they go and they taste the good, they go, wow, this is so good. So, wow, this is delicious. And then you go and switch the contents of a bottle inside just to test somebody, a blind test, and they taste the contents that is the cheaper content coming out of the good bottle, and they just go, oh, wow, this tastes really good. Thank you for acknowledging that you have no clue what you're talking about.
Hmm.
Um, okay, now going back to steak slices. Steak slices is never cooked and never soaked in sauces or syrups that evaporate or anything else. The only thing that evaporates that is taken out of the actual meat itself is its own water. So its own
Okay.
water is taken out in an air-dried environment that's temperature controlled, that it slowly leaves it and leaves the tenderness inside while drying it out. So you're taking a dry piece of steak slice, which you've tried, and you've realized you did not have to chew for 60 seconds to get it down. Okay? Yes, it was dryish, but it wasn't hard where you lost your jaws and chipped your tooth in the process.
Yeah, incredibly important, incredibly important. So I've seen, and probably other folks have seen, the different steaks that they dry. And these are the dry aged, you know, higher price steaks. Is this kind of the same concept, just to give folks a little bit of perspective? Or what's it look like in the facility? Do we have a bunch of meat hanging down? Give us a little insight into what someone would find if they walked in to.
I love the question. I love it. It's such a fantastic question because I'll say this, that when we started the company, how we even came to steak slices, the original vision was dry aged steak in commercial masses. I always had this thing. I said we all love steak and we all go to a restaurant to have the steak. Why is the steak in a restaurant taste better than the same steak at home? And I went in and I started to do the research on that and realized that there is something that you're buying in the store. A steak is usually, we call it a fresh piece of meat. Okay? Versus in the restaurant, what they do is something it's called aging. Even though I realize that it's not necessarily the case, they have hacks and shortcuts and all that. Um, but it's they call it aging. What the aging process does, it breaks down the fibers and allows the meat to actually relax and give you that. It takes away the denseness. It's like when a massage therapist gives you a massage on your shoulders and goes, "You are so tense." Okay, that's what the steak is like when it's fresh. And if it's relaxed for 2 weeks or 3 weeks, it relaxes. And so when you eat it, you're actually having a relaxed piece of meat and not a tense piece of meat.
That's that's a great way to describe it. And I'm thinking it's probably easier to digest too if
Correct.
we've let things break down too. Now I think a lot of people might be like, 3 week old meat? That's gross. But we have to go back to the foodie side of things and the aging in meat. And it's not like we're letting it sit out, in the garbage can for 3 weeks. You have a very controlled environment. I
Correct.
am guessing that this is sitting in. Give us a little scoop as if you like walked in where you have the meat curing. I'm gonna call it curing. I don't know what the
No,
best word,
no,
drying.
there's no curing. Curing is actually in a nitrate. Not when you do nitrate, that's what the USDA calls curing. So
Okay.
there is no curing involved. Curing is actually a dirty word.
Okay. We will not use it. Air drying?
Yeah.
What's the word
Yeah.
then?
No, it's air dried, controlled. It's not cured. It's air dried with pathogen control, um, to make sure that there is no pathogens or bacterias or anything like that. Everything is vacuumed out, so it's a room that's actually it's dry. There's like it's the moisture is constantly being sucked out of the room.
Okay.
Okay,
Okay.
like the first 2 days when the meat is put in a room, uh, we watch the drain of the water being sucked out of the room. You're talking about gallons of water, gallons. Just the moisture, because it's an environment that makes the meat sweat, and the sweat is constantly taken off and pulled into the environment of the room, which is then sucked out.
Interesting.
And eventually it just dries out. The meat just starts drying. But it doesn't there's no circulation. It's always fresh air and new air that's in the room. It's evenly distributed, so it doesn't hit one spot over another. These are equipment that you're talking a few $1 million in equipment. So
Sure.
it's like
Sure.
think of these big refrigerator rooms in factories. So think of it as a walk-in refrigerator. It's not a refrigerator. It's a dry room.
Makes sense. Makes sense. And, I'm guessing because it's a dry room, the temperature's controlled. You've got the bacteria microbe control. There's nothing being sprayed on the meat, nothing going onto it. It's just literally in there, like drying
Well, it
out.
goes through it goes through a treatment before it hangs, which is basically
Okay.
putting the spices and the apple cider vinegar. So the apple
Ah,
cider vinegar is what really reduces the acidity and kind of raises the acidity, lowers the pH on it. So it's all scientifically worked process in order to balance it, to make it into a environment that pathogens do not want to be in.
very cool. Very cool. Now, of course, this is going to go a little backwards. Where are you guys sourcing from? Where the cows come from? Where, are these, where are they?
So
Where are your
this is also I love the question. Who gave you that list of questions? This is fun. I love it.
She's a superstar. She's
Yeah.
one of the best.
No, this is actually very good because everybody's going to have this question. People, everybody wants to know how do you do it? You cannot, if you look at the bag, it says grass-fed, pasture-raised. You cannot do that on American meat. If it was on American meat, I mean that bag would be like $45. Why? Because there is nobody in America. Land is expensive, time is expensive, and slowing down your process and not giving your beef the bulk that it needs, which means weight is money, and I need to raise that cattle to be weighing, let's say, 1,600 pounds by 27 months is the goal. And if that thing is eating only grass, that thing is going to reach, if you're lucky, 800, 900 pounds.
That is a good point to make because I think a lot of people, will look at the grass fed, grass finished kind of concept and go, how to, why is everything not grass fed, grass finished? So it sounds like grass fed,
Okay, I mean,
grain.
here let's. I've been doing a lot of work with cattle and in this field and understanding it. It's like my brain needs to understand something as why, in order to agree with something. And what I've seen is interesting. You have when people say grass fed, there's
Hmm.
nothing. The only reason this it's my thought. It's my theory. It's not a fact. I'm not stating a fact right now. Is that when you're looking at uh, grass fed versus grain fed, what is grain fed? Grain fed is usually corn. So
Hmm.
now corn has a name in over here in our country. It has a name as GMO'd, and whatever other names that you want to call it. But just from what I've seen, it's what I've seen. I don't know it as a fact. The GMO that is in corn, from what I'm seeing, is the reason why we do GMO is to give us a perfect product, to give us a beautiful. It's consistently beautiful. Can you see me?
Yes. Yep. It'll do that sometimes.
Okay. Um, GMO, the reason for GMO is to give you that perfect, beautiful, consistent corn on the cob. It's like bird. It's always the same. You don't have ones that are yellow and white and this. It's always exactly the way you produce it. You got that perfect DNA of robotics coming out every single time. That's from what I understand is what the problem with corn is. We want natural. We want God's natural gift of corn. And if you were able to get non-GMO corn, you'd be happy. You'd be like, corn tastes delicious, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay. From what I've seen, when they get corn, they are getting the cheapest corn out there, which means it's naturally wildly grown. There's nothing consistent about it. It's the stuff that's coming. They could be bug infested. Cattle are allowed to eat bugs. It's a good protein source for them. The stuff that you will never touch for the cows is delicious. So when
Yes.
they're getting grain fed, from what I've seen, and I could be wrong, I don't see GMO stuff being delivered to the cattle. I see wild grain being delivered to the cattle. This stuff, and it sits there and it ferments. They don't even give it fresh. That thing stuffs and sits in halos over there for months for it to ferment, and the more it ferments, the better it tastes for the cattle, and that's what they're eating. So now, so the cattle, whether going grain finish or not, it does fatten them. It does give them because it's got starch. So now, if you want to go into starch category and saying the cattle are not meant to eat starch, they're meant to eat just grass, you could go in that avenue as well, in that direction. So now going from there, being now that we've kind of gone over this, the grain, where I'm not sure where the problem is with it, but we're gonna go. There's a lot of people that love the grass because it just sounds cleaner, sounds more natural, and it sounds like they ate what they wanted to eat, not what you fed them.
Yeah.
Okay,
Yeah.
and I think that's also another thought process. So now in South America, they don't have the mindset that we have here in America. When you go to Uruguay, Argentina, Brazil, um, they are industrial, but they're also you have a lot more primitive and natural farmers that they just harvest um, hundreds and thousands of cattle that are just natural. They sit there, land is cheap in these places. They have millions and millions of acres of land that cost pennies on the dollar and compared to what they cost here in America, which you cannot do that. Because even over here, even if you paid pennies on the dollar on the acreage, then you're paying it on the taxes. Where over there you don't have that issue. South America does not have that issue. It's a lot cheaper to raise and to even the salaries are pennies on the dollar. So they don't care. They'll push them out. They love the nature. They love what they're doing. So you're getting the cattle you're getting when it says grass fed, it's natural as it gets. And by definition, there's also no antibiotics in them as well.
Yeah. Yeah. And so what I hear you saying is you're getting most of your meat from South America.
Not
Different
most, all.
all. Okay.
All simply
And
for that reason, because I can know consistently that it's all going to be grass fed and grass finished.
nice. Nice. And now when we talk about kosher, and I think a lot of people are not aware what kosher means. And what it means for meat, what it means for processing, what it means for the whole product. Can you share with us a little bit of how your product fits into the kosher realm and what that means for folks when they're thinking through kosher?
Kosher is a John. You'll add in if I miss anything.
Sure. And and I'm going to make a slight correction to you after you finish too,
Sure. Okay. Good.
if I may.
Yeah. What do you want to do it now?
I'm just going to just quote, and again, this is according to the FDA and the U.S. Food and Drug, 95% of animals in the USA are eating GMO crops.
Mm-hmm. Okay,
So
you see, I said a thought. I didn't say a fact. I specifically said it's
yeah.
not a fact. It's just my thought from what it looks like. So I'm glad you corrected me, and I stand corrected on that.
Now the debate can come after.
Exactly.
There's going to be this other side who's going to say, "Oh, that's not a big deal." I, I, I don't agree with that line of thinking. I think, and this is so. You had some conjecture, and I'm going to have some conjecture here as well. It just seems to me that the if the major corporations are trying to make more money, one of the ways they're doing it is by reducing the quality of their ingredients and therefore reducing their cost. Otherwise, why would they do it, right? So now they're going to say, "Oh, we can reduce our cost, but it's safe, it's this, it's that." But we usually find out later on it really wasn't, or and it just um, it doesn't sound right. I mean, as for I'll use the word that you ushered in, it doesn't sound kosher. I mean, something that a cow growing in its natural
Habitat.
habitat, eating its natural foods without any modification, would be the same as a cow that is being force fed genetically modified ingredients that probably with pesticides, other, again, um, and you're going to say that the quality of what's coming out is going to be the same.
No, you're
I can,
absolutely right. You're absolutely right, John, because over here, the whole purpose of grain fed is like the whole thing when they came out with corn syrup is better than sugar. Okay, it was all like what big company and big pharma push that they pay they pay the media and the company to direct and say this is what's healthy because this is what we decided. Like what are the sweet sugar crisps and all those cereals that are filled
yeah,
with
yeah, they
sugar.
reduce the
That's not
quality
healthy.
of,
Give your
of even
children
the
this in the
sugars,
morning, right?
Yeah,
It's what we grew up on. It's healthy. It's cereal. It's healthy. It's pure candy, but it's healthy. It's exactly what you're saying because the purpose of what they did here was came from the back end came of let me give you a trick how you can inflate the weight of your animal in a shorter period of time. And
correct.
is that what you want to eat? And if you are what you eat, then it means that's going to inflate your weight and inflate your size the same way you did to the animal.
Yeah.
So you're
Yeah.
not
Correct.
eating. So you're not eating healthy. So either way you slice it, yeah, it's going to taste good, but it's not healthy. So you have to choose what you want. You want to choose healthy, or you want good. You want to taste good. Now, if you can accomplish taste good and healthy, now you're a winner.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And
Absolutely.
that was our goal in this process, and to do our best, very best to be, basically, when you read a label, you know, 3, 4 ingredients max, generally over 20. Just, where we've gone and where we are today. Just for an example, McDonald's French fries in the 60s were 3 ingredients: potatoes, beef tallow, and salt. And today I think it's 9 ingredients. Now, why would a French fry go from 3 to 9? Um, Now, those 9 ingredients, imagine, are much more expensive. I mean, much cheaper than the 3 ingredients. So so again, in order for this expansion, and this is the challenge, in the food and the medical field, is that how do we keep a certain level of quality and yet expand our businesses and give people reasonable pricing? And I understand that debate, but by obfuscating the truth and just saying, "Oh, it's the same." I mean, every company's done it. Uh, Yehuda just said, uh, uh, Coca-Cola. Why from sugar to corn syrup? Well, corn syrup is I don't know the exact proportions, but it's like 10 to 1 in in other words, so it's 1/10 the cost of sugar because it's so refined, and it packs this certain sweetness. So the quality goes down and the quantities go up, and that's what this is what this mass market of America has become, in fast food and all these things. So luckily, there's a big movement to get back to small farming, more holistic, organically grown things. And people, I know people have budgets, but a lot of people are saying, I'm going to invest. If I invest in a car or I invest in something for my home, why am I not going to invest for something that I'm putting in it to fuel me? And if that's going to cost me a little bit more every week to get a little bit better fuel, I'm going to do it. You're not going to put, uh, uh, you know, ethanol in your car that's not going to fuel your car. So that's where we are today. Just to shift into a general subject, and what we've tried to do, and again, our costs sometimes inhibit us from putting a product out that is a mass market product. But thankfully, in the time that I've been here, it's rarely been a price issue at all because people care about and they know they got something good. And like when you go to a good restaurant and you're happy with the meal, you're not upset with the price.
No.
So
Mm.
the person who buys, one of these, and then, for let's say, $9, and then doesn't care that the next time they buy a bag of chips for $1, that person is hard for us to, have a consistent customer. But those who constantly only need this, and this is one of the things that I've been, and this will be appeal to your audience and to our audience that we've been trying to develop. If you're only eating a certain way, you're not going to have the chips. So you need to have this.
Right.
That's not even a choice. If a person is not eating, but if you're eating everything and it doesn't care, oh yeah, I'll try this one day, I'll try that one day, and of course the mind will say, I'll take the cheaper product. But if you're on a keto diet, a low carb diet, carnivore, or you're transitioning into the world of that world and trying to be more conscious of what you eat, you're not going to care. You need to eat that product, and you're going to pay for it. And
Well, and I would wholeheartedly agree. I mean, one of the things that comes to my mind, because I am always looking for something of this nature, because, one of the biggest things that actually this label has it, so I was going to kind of show folks who are watching on YouTube with the 32 grams of protein in there. That's highly attractive because some women will be eating like yogurt, cottage cheese, and a protein bar just to get that. And what that does to the body, all those different things, we don't know, right? Whereas if it's something simple, and this in particular is just the traditional meat steak slices, what to me that is a much more simple and quick, easy to grab and go type of snack. And when many women are trying to get more protein in, I'm looking at it going like, this is very easy. And this is why, of course, I wanted to bring you guys on, because I wanted to highlight that, the folks behind the business, because at this point, we are a little, jaded as to who owns businesses, who care, who's actually caring, who's, what's true on labels, and really the story behind things. So of course I have to ask though, the flavors, like the truffle, who came up with that one? Was it either of you? Joe, nice. Good call.
Joe is Joe. I'm just going to say this. I'm going to forgive me publicly. Joe drives us nuts. We have a meeting and we start talking about how to implement and execute things, and he's in another world. He comes out with this, we're going to do this and we're going to do that, and then we have the CEO sitting at the meeting, and it's just like It's we could have a comedy skit. It's like, again, you're off on a tangent, but thank God, thank God for his creativity, because you know this is what separates us from the pack, in the sense that he comes up with really amazing ideas. I slam the door to make sure they get implemented, and he comes up with stuff like this, like I would have never thought, and it's been a huge hit. So I
Yes.
give him big hugs, as
Yeah.
we say. So yes, he comes up with a lot of creative stuff, and which is a lot of fun to work
Yeah,
with.
John, I'll hold you accountable to that next time. I won't let you beat me up for it.
Uh,
Oh my gosh. No, I mean the truffle's genius. And really, we had the other one. It was I think it was the chili flavored one as well. And my husband stole it. That's why I don't have it here today because he liked that one. And so what ended up happening is like this for me, I ate the whole bag in one sitting. It was like a whole meal for me, which yes, people could say eat your veggies, all that. But if you are traveling and say you're at the airport, well, it's not like you're going to be bringing, something along with you unless you wanted to buy the $20 salad. And so, nevertheless, these are so great for hikes, for active folks, travel, on the go, busy. I love it. And the other big thing that I had to know, back to my teeth, and I didn't break my tooth on yours, but it also, they're so soft, they don't get stuck in your teeth and you can't get them out. Did anyone ever tell you guys that before?
Yeah, yes, because I do eat it all the time, and I don't usually have the problem, so I'm good. And
It's a
usually it does
fascinating,
happen to me on other stuff.
right? Like spinach.
Yeah.
But tell me
By the
this,
way,
was that
I need a little correction on your
yes,
not your fault. It's just what you have in front of you. You pointed out 32 grams.
yes.
Okay, the new bag's actually saying at 36 grams.
Oh my goodness, there you go. Even more
Yes,
bonus.
we made a
Even more
mistake on the
bonus.
calculation when you're drying it and losing all that moisture. So you kind of the math starts to get a little messed up, and then also it would have been 32 if it was slightly cooked, but by the fact that it's actually never heat treated, which maintains a lot of the nutrients and natural proteins, it's 36 grams for the same servings.
All right. Well, thanks for the transparency there because then I mean there's a lot of variance sometimes when we eat things and don't know which amount. So this is good.
Yeah,
Even more of
yeah,
a
correct.
protein boost.
but I
Yeah.
want to say, Janine, I want to thank you for the thought of, as somebody's come into the company and said, we're not just a product, we're a vehicle for people's use and how it's used.
Hmm.
Because products are products, but like you say, we're on the go, on the run, on the train, on the traveling, grabbing something like this that's not going to spike your blood sugar. And just, where you're going to have these ups and downs when you're traveling, this is going to level things off, with the protein count, and you're going to get clean protein on the way, or after the gym, before the gym, etc. So, that's we're our one of our slogans, so to speak, is wherever you go, we're with you. So we
Nice.
take Joburg with you, and so I appreciate the usefulness of the product, because that's really really key here. Because if we're sitting down, the bottom line is that if we can go into our kitchen, make 3 square meals a day or two, whatever you have, you don't really. This is not necessary. But we live in a society where you're stuck on the road. Um, where are you, by the way? Um,
I'm in Wisconsin. I am
okay, and
just
was
south of Milwaukee.
Oh, okay, amazing. So, but you're in the traffic in Milwaukee, and every city has 5 o'clock, right? Whatever it is, and you're hungry, or you have an afternoon. You're at work, wherever it is. We live in a society where we have to have some snacks, so to speak. And by the way, the other area here where is very important, kids love these. My grandkids, they come up, where's the joke right away, and you can't force that on them. They love this, and I feel so good when like if they come over and they want, the not so good stuff, but now they want this, and it's so great because you feel like, wow, you're giving them something and they share it and whatever, and they're getting a nice, good protein, and it's really amazing. So it's another facet of the diversity.
No.
Yes, you got stuck there. Um,
Yeah.
yeah, there you are. Oh,
Appreciate I do, yeah. Sorry, I appreciate uh, Janine, your thoughts and how you eloquently and enthusiastically showed our the usefulness of our product. So I want to thank you for that.
No
so
problem. No
we,
problem.
I want to address one thing. You asked me a question before, and then
Mm-hmm.
we kind of sidetracked it and never answered it regarding the kosher.
Yes. Yes. Please
Yeah,
enlighten me.
your audience is going to be like, is he straying away from the question?
We don't want to give them that impression.
No. So kosher. What is kosher? How gory can I be, or should I keep it?
No, go ahead and tell it like it is. I think people need to know.
Okay, kosher is, well, the animal is kosher by definition. The way the Bible has uh, prescribed per se as what's kosher and what's not kosher. So we'll talk in the animals. It has to have split hooves and re-chews its cud. Okay, those are the two signs of what a kosher animal is. Good. Now that you defined what a kosher animal is, it's not enough that it's a kosher animal. It also has to be processed in a kosher fashion. And a kosher fashion has to be in the most humane possible way. And the way God has said it, that the way you have to kill the animal, that it should feel the least amount of pain as possible to be humane. Otherwise, it forfeits. For example, the knife that's used is the sharpest possible knife that you could possibly even imagine. Take a razor blade and think 10 times sharper. Okay? And there is no even, we'll say, even the slightest ding on the blade. Slightest. So there is a rabbi that actually does the process, the actual cutting, and then there's another rabbi that inspects the knife before and after. So before is to prevent a disaster, because if he checked it before, then it's fine. If he checks it after, so it's just a prevention for either for the next one, if I'm not mistaken, but whichever one, if there's a problem with the blade, which they check the blade before and after, and it's got even a nick. You're talking about when you're going with your nail and you feel the slightest nick, the animal is now not kosher because it even slightly felt a pain because of that little jag in the blade.
Wow.
That's how smooth. That's number one. Number two is then so now if that passes, then they check for health. And the way God said, the two easiest ways to check for health is you check the lungs for lesions, which means, John, just put yourself on mute. Yeah. You check for lesions and for infections, which is very easily visible, which means that the lungs have no holes in it. The lungs are clean. They inflate. They actually take the lung and inflate it with a pump, and it's got to hold like a tire. It's got to hold the pressure. If that thing pops or doesn't hold the pressure, it's not kosher. Animal's not kosher because it means it wasn't healthy enough. So
Wow.
when you're looking at a kosher animal, you're looking at practically the healthiest animal. It doesn't
Wow.
matter the kind of animal, what it ate and stuff like that. At the end of the day, it's got to pass the inspection, which means you have the rabbi inspection. Only after the rabbi inspects it, only then the USDA inspects it. Which means the rabbinical biblical inspection is priority over the USDA, which means, or the other, the USDA checks it, and only then the rabbis check it. And if it doesn't pass, it could be USDA grade A, but if it doesn't pass the rabbinical inspection, it's not kosher.
It
Why?
makes
Because the
sense.
Bible said it's not good enough. So
Yeah.
the Bible was, God was, when He gave us the permission to eat animal, He said, I'm only going to let you eat it. One, you were kind to it, and actually cared for it as its essence, that it's coming to give you life, and not as something that belongs to you or anything like that. It has to be, you have to treat it well, number one, and number two is it's got to be healthy, and only then is it good. Now you have the third part, which is actually completely getting the blood out of it. Blood is forbidden by the Bible to have inside meat, which is also in the non-kosher world. The blood actually adds a certain flavor and adds a weight because it is a liquid. So every single kosher piece of meat actually has to be salted. And the salt accomplishes two things. One, it actually goes through a mini curing process right at the get-go to kill all bacteria because it's salted. So it killed most of the pathogens right then and there because they cannot handle the salt. So you're talking a lot of salt.
Yeah.
And then two, all the blood is taken out of the piece of meat, and then it's rinsed. So now you have what you would call the best possible version of a piece of meat that's kind of clean from any outside elements or artifacts or anything like that can affect the meat in any way, shape, or form.
Wow. I'm blown away. I had no idea. I had no idea.
Yeah, that's kosher. So when you see kosher, you're talking about quality wise, it's great. It's the best grade. It doesn't mean it's the tastiest because of grade A prime or select or something like that. You're talking about from a health perspective. It's from a health perspective. Grass fed and kosher
Yeah.
should rank on your level higher than just a non kosher grass fed.
I would agree. I've always kind of told folks if you can find something kosher. I didn't know all the details of kosher, but for me, energetically, taking care of the animal, making sure that, when it's killed, there's minimal amount of pain. For me, that means a lot because I think that energy transfers to our meat and what we eat.
Absolutely.
And
Absolutely.
that's huge. That's huge. So I hope a lot of
And
folks just heard that big time how that works. That's so huge.
yeah, I mean, look, the Bible says, that when you wake up in the morning, you have to make sure your animal eats before you. You have to feed your animal before you feed yourself. So if you're a farmer, that's the law, which means you know that God has looked out for the inferior being prior to the superior being. Because you know to look out for yourself. The inferior being is dependent on you. You have a dog, you better feed it before you feed yourself because he's counting on you.
Yeah. Yeah. Oh my goodness. That just brings up a whole nother level of what energy you get from the food you eat. And this is, I could talk for hours on this, but nevertheless, not only are we getting high protein, not only do we have a snack on the go, and we have something that is clean. Now we have something that's high vibe energy, which is definitely kind of rounds out what I'm looking for when it comes to the food
One
industry.
second, Janine. We're gonna have to have a whole nother podcast just on the energy thing because I've been an energy healer for 20 years. So
And
you want to talk about energy? That's a whole nother podcast. We can do that. I am more than happy to discuss energy healing, vibe, all that. I'd love it.
I have to get my fishing my Joe fishing pole out and fish him in because this guy will go on for days and years. So, yeah.
no, fair enough. But I love it. I mean, it's something that I think everyone's got to think about, though. We don't think about the energy that comes from the animal that we eat, if the animal's mistreated, if all these different things. I mean, it's a whole circle of life.
Correct.
And nevertheless, I really appreciate you guys taking the time today to chat with me and share on Joburg Meat. And I'm excited to share on the slices and put this one up because I think for folks it's really important to know that there are snacks out there that they can get a hold of that are easy, energetically high vibe, and check the boxes for all the proteins. So we've got John showing all the flavors there for
No, I
us.
wanted to say,
Uh,
yeah, and I also wanted to say we have, and you'll put in the show, we have a special uh, discount for your viewers and listeners. It'll be HealthFix20 code at joburgmeats.com, JOBURGMEATS.com. And the code is HealthFix20, which gets them 20% off. And that'll be in the show notes. But I wanted to give a shout out and thank you
I want
for
to.
this.
Can I give a last note here?
Yes, please.
Well, I don't, not a last, my last note here. Um, to your audience, I would say, even if you're not ready to purchase right now, go and put your email address in. Put your email address in just to stay updated on our new lines. We are coming out with so many new products and flavors. Like right now, I'm working on a mango habanero flavor. Okay, and
Nice.
I'm trying to keep that. It's very easy to just get flavors. I'm working very hard on keeping it keto, paleo, and Whole30 clean. So it's scientifically it's a challenge to do that without all the fancy ingredients that they use, and keeping it real. So I'm working on all those to do that in a very clean fashion, in a clean way. And look out. I mean, it takes time, but in the next 6 months, we're gonna have such a beautiful lineup of clean products of your everyday commodity that you even make for dinner, that you're gonna be like, wow, you've made this clean and delicious. We can't wait to try it, and I want you to be the first to know about it.
Awesome. Awesome. Well, I look forward to being one of the first ones as well to know about it. Thank you guys for coming on and sharing all the details on Joburg Meat and also educating us quite a bit on the meat industry. Thanks again.
It's our
Thank
pleasure.
you. It was amazing. All the best.
All right. Hey, fellow health junkie. Thanks for listening to the Health Fix podcast. If you enjoyed tuning in, please help support me to get the word out about the podcast. Subscribe, rate, and review, and just get that word out. Thanks again for listening.